Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming out on our annual Veterans Day celebration. We want to thank the Southfield Veterans Commission and the Community Relations Department for once again putting this program together. At this time, I would like to ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And I would also like to introduce Joshua Berg, who is the ministerial intern from the Northwest Unitarian Universalist Church, for an invocation. Mr. Berg.
Thank you very much. How's everyone's spirit? Good, good, good. Spirit of life and love, source of meaning of many names and none. It is our wish for peace on earth. Today we honor veterans, those that have served our country and all of humanity by doing work that engenders peace. They have shown courage in the face of danger and risked their lives with the goal of making the world a safer, better, and more peaceful place for all of us. And for that, we are grateful. We do harm to warriors such as these when we do not celebrate their identities with deference, free from any prejudice, gender, age, class, ability, religion, ethnicity, culture. We are not all soldiers in the traditional sense, but it is our obligation as well to persevere courageously, to bring harmony to humanity, lest we dishonor those who fought and continue to risk their lives for our peace here on earth. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Berg. And now I'd like to make some introductions of our elected officials. I'm not sure if someone's here from Brenda Lawrence's office. Yes, this is Rose Daddy. Sorry. We haven't met, but please introduce yourself afterwards. State Representative Kyra Harris is with us. Kyra Harris Bolden is with us this morning. From City Council, we have newly elected Tanya Morris and Daniel Brightwell. Or I should say re-elected. And Councilman Ari Mandelbaum, Treasurer Irv Lowenberg, and from the 46th District Court, Judge Cynthia Arvant. Our dynamic Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Jennifer Green. And we have our Police Chief, Elvin Barron, and Fire Chief Johnny Menifee. I know he's here. He's not in the room. Anyhow. And I think at this point then, we are ready to turn the microphone over to Jeffrey Martin, longtime vocal music director in the Southfield Public Schools, and this fabulous group of kids. I'm going to get out of the way.
Thank you. We're going to sing the Armed Forces medley for you this morning. My students love singing these songs to you. So if you hear your anthem, please do what you normally would do. We're going to hear our Marine Bill on the walk. I don't know what kind of here, giving us the fire to sing even more.
Over hill, over dale, we will hit the dusty trail, and the caissons go rolling along. In and out out, hear them shout, curls marching right about, and the caissons go rolling along. And it's hi, hi, ye, in the field artillery. Shout out your numbers loud and strong, for wherever you go, you will always know that the caissons are rolling along. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for rights and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marines. Anchors aweigh, my boys, anchors aweigh. Farewell to college shores, we sail at break of day, 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 day. Through our last night on shore, straight to the foe. Until we meet once more, here's wishing you a happy voyage home. We're always ready for the call. We place our trust in Thee. To surf and storm and hurricane gale, what shall our purpose be? Semper Paratus is our guide, our faith and glory too. To fight, to save, to fight and die, like Coast Guards we are for you. Off we go into the long blue yonder, flying right into the sun. Here they come, looking to meet our thunder, and a voice here the gun. Down the dives, letting the flame come under, off along terrible course. We live in flame, we're down in flame. Ain't nothing to stop the U.S. Air Force. America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. America, America, my home.
Aren't they wonderful? Beautiful voices, beautiful faces. Thank you, Mr. Martin. At this time, I would like to call up the chairperson of the Southfield Veterans Commission, Gerald Houston, for a few remarks. Mr. Houston?
Thank you, Mayor. Boy, it's nice to see a lot of friendly faces. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 5 ways to honor those who serve this Veterans Day. Few groups deserve recognition, respect, and gratitude more than the brave men and women who have served in the U.S. military. These outstanding individuals have sacrificed so much so that we can preserve our way of life. This November, we would like to extend our sincere thanks to veterans that have served so selflessly and courageously. No matter where you live or how much time you have to dedicate, there are a multitude of ways, really, that we can honor veterans. Veterans who have spent time protecting our values and democracy. The following are 5 ideas we here in the Southfield Veterans Commission would like you to consider. Number 1, say thank you. And if time is short, a quick phone call or text will definitely be appreciated by a veteran. Number 2, treat a vet to lunch or a cup of coffee, which, inviting a veteran to a coffee house or a restaurant is really guaranteed to make their day, I believe. And make a commitment to volunteer. With the aid of the internet, well, finding meaningful volunteer opportunities is virtually effortless, really. Donate to a cause that supports veterans. Even a small donation is money well spent when one is supporting our servicemen and women, and I'm including women. Women are veterans also. Attend your local Veterans Day celebration like you have today by showing your support in person. If you have 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, to share, or to spare, rather, I'm sorry, and make a huge it will really make a huge difference in a veteran's life this November. We of the Southfield Veterans Commission thank you for coming, and thank you for supporting us. And thank you, Mr. Mayor.
A new tradition that we started last year, we open the floor to any person in the audience who'd like to come up and pay tribute to a Southfield veteran, living or past. If there's anyone that would like to come up, you may recall last year that we did a tribute to World War I veterans and spoke about Glenn Levy, who Levy Middle School is named for, and his service in the United States Army. So if there's anyone that would like to come forward and do a tribute to someone who has served in any branch of the military, the floor is yours. And while Ms. Rose is coming up, Mr. Houston, thank you so much on behalf of the city and all of the members of the Veterans Commission for your remarks.
Yeah, way down. My husband would be so mad at me right now because he was a very, very private person, and I don't even care. He was a very special guy. He served in World War II. He was a radio operator gunner on a B-24. Why was he? Because he was a singer. And the Air Force decided that he could do this wonderful stuff, and he did. But he was damaged by this experience, and I didn't understand it. But when we would I never knew him at that time because I was -3. But, I'm kidding. But when we knew each other, when we got to know each other, and we would fly to see our daughter, who was always lived out of state, his hands were just white-knuckled because he had never forgotten that when he was on those B-24s, many of them didn't get up off the ground, and he saw these crashes. So he was always nervous. But the one thing that he told me was so cool, so cool. He told me that when they came back from a mission, there were these little teeny tiny planes that followed them. He never knew who they were. They were the Red Tails. And it wasn't until I saw the movie about the Red Tails that I said to him, "Do you know who those people were?" So I recognize him and I honor him. Thank you.
Anyone else from the floor would like to come up, please do. And you can line up if you'd like.
Good afternoon. My name is Donna Johnson. I'm a City of Southfield resident here. I would like to recognize all men and women that have served our country, and also a special prayer for Mr. Alexandra that's in the Air Force, and also my uncle Donald R. Johnson that served the Korean. We ask that all men and women are safe and protected, and also we ask, until they come home, prayers for everyone. And we honor this day, and we love all our men and women that serve the country. Amen.
It's an honor to stand before you today. I want to call that man out. Mr. Gerald Houston, he's my favorite veteran. Well, I love the Southfield Veterans Commission, but Mr. Houston embraced women veterans. We have a nonprofit called Michigan Women Veterans Empowerment, been out here 5 years trying to do so much for women veterans. I met Mr. Houston through another veteran, and I talked to him about our mission. He said, "You know what? I'm going to help you." And what he did was he empowered me as a woman veteran. It was very difficult coming out here. We're the most underserved population, and actually, I was a homeless veteran. I became a homeless veteran. I also started an organization because Women Veteran Services is not very accessible. So I started the Women Veterans Empowerment Movement 5 years ago. And this man right here gave me life. And the support that the Southfield Veterans Commissions is giving to us as women veterans, we have a conference next week on Saturday, is priceless. So I want to just honor you and thank you for your genuine support, for your love for us.
My pleasure.
I love him. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to recognize my father, who was in the Vietnam War and is a Southfield resident, so he's a private person, so he probably would be upset that I'm doing this. But my parents raised me in Southfield, and because of him, I have the life that I have, and I'm able to serve you in a different capacity. And I do want to let you know that I introduced some bills. I'm your state representative, and I introduced some bills for veterans to make sure that there's a commission that is in the state of Michigan that lets veterans know about their benefits and have more accessibility to their benefits, because that's a huge issue. So thank you for your service, and thank you for letting me speak.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Frank Coots. I'm a U.S. Army veteran in Korea. Currently, I serve with the Southfield Homeland Security. Just a moment to remember one of ours who's passed recently, Tim Workus. Timothy Workus served in many capacities in the city of Southfield, but most of us will remember his tireless efforts on behalf of veterans and Veterans Affairs here within the city of Southfield. He was also responsible for, at the airport, Detroit Metro Airport, there's a welcoming center for veterans who are leaving the airport or returning. It's a 24/7 operation staffed by volunteers, which Tim organized and spent much of his time there. It's a place for veterans to take a breath and have something to drink, just to rest or decompress coming and going. So we're very thankful for Tim. Tim Workus passed away late last year. We'll miss him. Thank you.
As superintendent of schools, I'd like to acknowledge and recognize all having served our country. I'd also like to address the fact that college and career readiness is something you hear often in the media, but you don't often hear about going into the armed forces. It is something that is near and dear to our heart, and as one of our goals for this year, we are working diligently to bring the JROTC back to the Southfield Public School District.
Hello, I'm Elvin Barron, Chief of Police for the City of Southfield, and I would like to paint a broad brush over the men and women who serve this country. And what I mean by this, I encourage you to Google our times, the era of our Vietnam War veterans, Korean War, World War II, because some of these individuals still are with us. And look at the uniform that they're wearing. Today we have uniforms that are insulated boots, heaters, the best technology, meaning the grenades and the launchers with the safety features. That did not exist at that time frame, which put these service members at risk for elements, for accidental deaths and injuries. So take a moment when you see some of our senior veterans, and they're sitting out here with us today, and thank them again for enduring those elements, those times, and again serving this country. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Elliott, and on behalf of Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence, we would like to thank you all for your service. As a federal office, we do have services that if you are not getting your benefits or have any issues, please contact our office. I'll be sticking around after, and you can get a card from me. Again, thank you for your service.
I'm Dan Brightwell, City Councilman, but before I was on council, I was chairman of the Veterans Commission for about 10 years. And I was there when Gerald Houston came on board and several others participated. But one thing it brought to mind here was that Gerald and Tim Works and I interviewed over 300 veterans for the Library of Congress, and that's called the Veterans History Project. And every one of those veterans, and the superintendent reminded me of this, every one of those veterans said they would do it again. And that was part of my interviewing process. Would you do it again? Excuse me, 100% indicated they did. And they would recommend the military service to young people today. And every one of them, because that was part of the routine closing out, they knew that question was coming. They would recommend the military service. And they indicated the military service changed their life, literally changed their life. And we had a lot of them, individuals who came from very poverty means. A couple of them came from farms, and they got around people. I'm going to quote, this is a quote that the veteran's wife, she was sitting there. She said, you know what? He came from nothing, and the military made his life. He was dirt poor, but he ended up producing 2 daughters who were doctors. He had a big high position at Ford because of the military training, because of his military. And he got around people who were doing things that made him want to do things. So the military service is a wonderful profession, and I would urge every young person out there to, if you want to obviously improve your life and or get around individuals who are successful and who are striving, consider the military. And I want to thank the Veterans Commission for continuing this process of our Veterans Day. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Barbara Purifoy Selden, and I am a veteran. I am a member of the Women Army Corps Veterans Association. I'm on their National Honor Guard. I am a member of the Southfield Veterans Commission. I am a member of the VFW Auxiliary. They won't let me be a VFW person because I never had feet on foreign soil. And I wonder sometimes, why am I so interested and so busy being a part of veterans organizations? And it's because I'm a veteran. I am a graduate of Cass Tech High School, and I grew up in Southwest Detroit. When I was coming up, I was what you would call back in the 50s a nerd. I'm 76 years old. I would always carry my head down. I was very bashful, but I was very smart. Okay, when I finished high school, I was in the sciences. I never had typing. I never wanted to be a maid. I didn't want to do any of the things that women were doing that time. So one day, I was riding the bus. I looked up on a billboard, and it said, "See the world, get an education, join the Army." Great idea. My mother had a 3rd grade education. My father had a 7th grade education. They had no way of me getting into college and to pay for something like that with 8 children. So I went into the Army. And all of a sudden, I metamorphized. I went from that bashful little girl to a wonderful person. I began to speak up, talk up, act up. As a matter of fact, there isn't a microphone that I won't touch. Okay, and I was noticing when they were singing the song like here, they never sang the Women Army Corps song. So, for your edification, I am going to sing the Women Army Corps song. Oh, by the way, what was my MOS? 917, but I was Special Services Entertainment. That's what took me from this to this. So, if the task at hand is an Army command and the deadline is 0 hour, if the way is rough and the odds are tough and the need is for all our power, and if every day brings a message our way, no matter what the score, whether peace or war, there's a need evermore for the Women's Army Corps. I am so grateful what the Army has done for me, and to all of those women out there, consider the United States Army, because encore, no way. Only karaoke. Thank you so much, and thank you, United States Army, for all that you've done for me. Thank you.
Well, I always wondered how Barbara became an extrovert. So now we know. Well, at this point in our program, and thank you all for sharing those pieces of information as well as those tributes. At this point in our program, I ask you to grab your coats. We're going outside to conclude the program. And I would like the veterans to lead the way and others to follow. We'll get to the top of the steps, and then our Flag Corps will present the colors. So we'll recess for 2 minutes. time before our 21 gun salute for a moment of silence. Thank you.
Stand by. Ready. Aim. Mark. Ready. Aim. Mark. Ready. Aim. Mark. Half lap. Wait. Freeze in. Mark.
We remember veterans today, veterans of all struggles for liberation. I call you to reflect on privilege, on responsibility, and on sacrifice. Those of us with privilege must recognize it and leverage it to make sure the gains of our veterans are not lost. It is the responsibility of all of us to hold up the contributions of veterans as examples to emulate. Finally, we are stronger for sacrifice and recognize those who have sacrificed and continue to sacrifice for us. And with that awareness, I also call you to name your duty to learn from each other, to meet on deferential ground with humility, and to strive to live through empathy, that compassion may always be your guide. I call you to be present today and each moment in awe of the tremendous bravery of all veterans, all people who give completely of themselves in order to make our country and this world better for all. Blessed be.
Amen.